Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be talking about the Breitling Premier B01 Chronograph 42 made in stainless steel and silver panda style dial with a black alligator leather strap, reference number AB0118221.G1P1. Quite a mouthful. Anyway, while Breitling are often seen as a very divisive sort of brand, either being very loved or very unloved, this particular model has actually been making waves, departing from, say, the Navitimer and the Super Ocean styles and bringing a much more simplistic look of the 1940s and 50s, as well as a modern era to bring us a emphasis on relatively simple chronograph style timepiece that, I can also agree is rather timeless. And while there are other choices of dial colors such as black, anthracite, silver, or blue, as well as the case materials such as this, the stainless steel, or an 18-karat red gold, or even a strap, a different strap and buckle variations, Breitling have certainly made quite a successful formula in this Premier B01. Let me know down in the comments if it should be Premier or Premier, but I feel Premier feels just about right for this name or for this watch. All right, so we'll be discussing the case, the bezel, dial, crown, the movement, strap, and the buckle, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on all these aspects throughout this video. All right, so beginning with the case, it is 42 millimeters in diameter from finger to thumb. It is 13.6 millimeters in thickness and 22 millimeters between lugs. And from lug to lug, I measured 49.5 millimeters, almost 50 millimeters in total in height from lug to lug. The overall form makes this a rather nice fit under the cuff. Not entirely the best, the thinnest wafer, but it will fit very nicely. So while the features on the dial may look a bit excessive, anybody who knows Breitling knows that this is actually a rather simple design, and in the design world it has plenty of what is called white space, literally white, of course, but all the elements on this watch are able to actually breathe. And while more on the dial in a moment. Anyway, the main surfaces of this watch are actually high polished stainless steel, rounded in shape with tapered and beveled lugs that bend downward to fit quite nicely onto the wrist. All right, and there's also, if I can get this to focus nicely, some of the accents, particularly on the 9 o'clock side and the crown side as well, actually have some nice satin finish to give this watch a nice touch of texture. The accents on the sides amplify that sort of retro Art Deco look, and together this case is actually water resistant down to 100 meters or 330 feet, standard fare for a luxury style watch. The bezel on this one is actually hardly a bezel, but more of sort of a bevel on the case that leads directly up to the elevated crystal, a scratch-resistant sapphire, so there's no fear of suit threads or buttons damaging it. The elevated look gives it sort of that aviation style look of a window into the dial. And on this model, the dial is a white background surrounded by a black tachymeter that allows the dial to really stand out sort of in front of everything. And sinking inward, you have the subdials at the 9, which shows the small seconds, while the subdial at the 3 shows a 30-minute dial for the chronograph. The index hour markers in silver with black applications really make those index markers stand out. There's also luminescence only on the stick-style hour-minute hands, and there's a red-tipped chrono hand that can double as a large center seconds hand due to the vertical clutch, should you so desire. And to me, all of these colors and even the forms of all of these elements together are certainly reminiscent of a dial you would see on, say, a vehicle like a speedometer, tachometer, or even many of the dials that you would see in sort of an airplane cockpit. Real quick, I can also turn out the lights here to show you the extent of the luminescence, all right? And there you have it. Not a whole lot to speak of, assuming that it focuses. Again, only the minute and hour hands are truly visible. Not sure why exactly they're set up like that, but hey, Breitling do their own thing. Okay. So now you know that you can relatively tell time in the dark as long as you have enough light to actually see the rest of the hour marks. All right, now just note that this is based on your assumption that you know the orientation of your wrist in relation to your eyes. Should you know that the top of the watch is the 12 o'clock position, so you can then tell the time accordingly. Again, not sure what the real use of only applying luminescence to the hands is, but when the lights are on, I can hardly complain. And note that there's also a date window at the 6 o'clock position, pretty far down, which seems to sort of pull the visual weight downward rather naturally, only to be balanced with the Breitling logo, which I also must point out is their script-style letter form logo, not the more complex pictographic version with the large anchor buttress with 2 large wings, indicative of their navel as well as their aeronautic styling. The text working together with those subdials and the clean index hour marks make this Breitling model a feast for any designer's eyes. So much white space, as I said before, that gives all of these elements breathing room so that they can actually be fully appreciated without distracting any distracting numbers or color or form elements so commonly found in say even the Avenger, the Aviator, or even the other Super Ocean models. And also, let me touch on this real quick. When you look at the way that the black of this dial reflects, it actually almost looks like it's blue in certain instances, and that's due to the sapphire crystal. It's not entirely glare proof, but I actually like that little touch that the sapphire gives to those black portions of the dial, especially the little subdials at the 6 or the 3 and the 9 positions, as well as the tachymeter sort of encircling that dial. It gives it a really nice touch. And again, find me someone who doesn't like blue. Go ahead, I'll wait. All right, so anyway, the chrono pushers on the 3 o'clock side of the case are actually this sort of block style with a very small form factor that you can easily forget that they're there, but when you need them, they certainly perform very well with their wide stance, so any size finger won't feel any fatigue when pressing on them. And while we're here, we can also discuss on the crown functions. All right, so the crown at the default position actually winds a watch already. So no need to unwind the crown. You don't need to worry about breaking any threads there. All working very nicely, right? And also, let's look at the chronograph. Once the chrono hand reaches the 12 o'clock position, it ticks up 1 minute on the 3 o'clock subdial for all of those 30 minutes. So a good use of function there. All right, I'm going to stop it there. And back to the crown here, pulling it out to the first, well, technically the second position, pulling it out to the next position allows you to advance the date by 1. It's about a half turn each day. So if you find yourself being a time traveler going forward in time, well, you may have to wind this quite a bit. But for most of us who are traveling through time, at relatively the same pace, and I speak relatively, I'm not going to go into a whole physics discussion here on the relativity of time and experience thereof, but anyway. So for most of us, advancing the date is probably just going to be a once every couple months deal, on the 30th of a month and so forth. So just keep that in mind. You will have to probably turn it twice, 2 quarter turns, or 1 big half turn. Same sort of deal there, all right? And so when you find yourself on, say, the 30th of a month, you can just advance it forward quite nicely to the 1st of the next month rather easily. Okay, now pull out the crown to the final position and note that the seconds hand actually stops at the 9 o'clock position, all right? That small seconds hand is very useful with this hacking function, so you can then adjust the minute hand precisely as you need, all right? So press the crown all the way back in. No need to screw it tightly against the case, and note that doing so actually does start up that small seconds hand once more. And if you have your chronograph running, it will continue to run from that point forward. Right. Also note that when you stop it, it also has these very chunky feeling presses. All right. It has very good feedback, very good physical feedback, and very nice sound. Let me get the sound here. All right, so you heard it very nice and close up to my microphone. It has a very nice chunky feel. It feels like you're actually working with a chronograph, okay? The top button starts and stops, and the bottom, obviously, resets. All right. Very simple there, all right? So all these functions that I just showed you are made possible with the movement. With a fitting name, this watch's movement is also known as the B01. Made in-house, it is a self-winding. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. Trying to find a nice orientation for you to see it there. So it is a self-winding automatic movement, mechanical as well, with a 28,800 vibrations per hour rating, or 4 Hertz. It has 41 joules with hour, minute, second, and date complications, in addition to the chronograph movements, down to the quarter second and up to 30 minutes. In total, this brings us to an impressive 70 hours of power reserve, and you can set this watch down for a full 3 days before having to wind it again. And also note that as part of the chronograph movement, this has a column wheel, which actually can be seen through the back. Not many, let's see, it's actually very difficult to see through this portion here, but okay, there we go. So if you engage the chronograph there, you can actually see that portion moving properly. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, now. All right, so there's the function there. Pressing the chronograph button will actually move that chronograph hand, starting and stopping. And when you reset it, it goes back to its original position. All right, so not many open chronograph watchmakers can say that they show the literal function of the chronograph. As you can see, it engage and disengage and even reset. So while this dial is actually extremely impressive in its own right, the movement will certainly tantalize the tech nerds. And the strap on this watch is a very good framing. It's made of black alligator leather, extremely thick, stitching to match with a soft underside for comfort. The buckle and clasp here is also a hybrid of the two. All right, so this pin style buckle allows you to select the correct notch for proper sizing of your wrist, while the deployment allows you to take the watch off and put it back on without having to put any extra wear on that notch by having to pass the pin through over and over. And while we're here, I can actually try it on, give you some of my thoughts on how this watch wears, how it feels on the wrist. Now, I haven't sized this to my wrist. Actually, I can do that real quick here. Nice and easy. And I'll just take a stab at it with the, let's go for middle notch. All right. Nice and easy. Now my wrist is 7 inches in circumference. So on my wrist, let me zoom out here for you. All right, so on my wrist, again, 7 inches in circumference. It has a very good size there, and with the way that these lugs work with the leather style strap here, it actually has a really good ratio of case to strap. Now, if my wrist were bigger, it would have a better ratio. This isn't bad, and with this overall form factor, it will slide very nicely. There's no weird outward flaring of the case itself to obstruct any sort of more form-fitting, say, sleeves or suit cuffs, right? And with that downward taper of those lugs, really hugs the wrist very nicely, all right? And these tiny spaces between the bracelet and the case itself gives it a really good added benefit of being able to breathe quite nicely, all right? And with this leather strap, it gives it a very nice dressy look as well, all right? And when it comes to the weight, the overall distribution, the leather strap does not actually feel incredibly light, but it's not heavy either. It's a very good medium weight. You're getting premium leather here, and with the buckle, all of that counterweighted against this case, which is actually extremely light for what you get. I barely feel like I actually have a watch on. That's because the center of gravity directly in the center of my wrist feels very nice to have on. Well, can I even say that I really feel it? Not really. It feels so comfortable, so light, and with an excellent weight distribution, I can barely feel that it's there. All right, so who is this watch for? I feel this watch is certainly an exceptional entry point into Breitling's catalog, whether you're just starting to get into watches. And, comparatively, this watch has, an excellent price point for what you receive. And I'm honestly surprised that Breitling make any profit from this model at all, especially if you compare it to the rest of their catalog. And speaking of catalogs, there's also a really good entry point for collectors of other brands as well. So you can see what Breitling has to offer you, as I have shown here. It's excellence that they themselves have shown to be fully capable of achieving. And at this price point, which you can see in our site, in the link in the description below, you can get a lot of function and look for very little. As of the making of this video, it even comes out at a price point below that of even the most basic Rolex, an Oyster Perpetual. Now that is saying something. So what do you think about this watch? Let us know down in the comments below. Would you be picking up something like this? It has a very nice panda look. Even just for the look, would you be able to get one? Or would you consider getting one? Let us know down in the comments below. Should it be Premier or Premier? Let me know as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, hit that like button. Helps us out a lot. And hit that subscribe button, as it helps us out even more. And hit that bell notification so you can be notified when you go live with another video such as this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch, any watch like it, current production, discontinued, new or used, visit our site at jazztime.com. Links in the description below.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.